All right, perfect. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So I'm going to come in here into community and I'm going to go and I'm going to type in deploy right here. And you'll be able to see that I've made 2 videos on Greta AI, which is currently a lifetime deal application that's available on AppSumo right now. There'll be a link below. It goes away very soon. We've got Greta right here. It actually, let me refresh the page. It does go away in 4 days. So by the time you watch this, you'll have 3-4 days to make the purchase. It does have really good reviews, 137 reviews. That it's only been on the platform for about a month, so it definitely took off. Getting over 100 reviews is very fast. So people really like it. It has some solid reviews. It is a comparable to like Lovable, Cursor, Bolt, all those kind of no-code app building tools. And we come back over here, you'll see that I just had a ton of people say, yes, Greta deploy. Like, can you build an app from start to finish? How does it actually work? Can you deploy an app? And so I'm going to record this video. I don't know how long this is going to end up being. It's probably going to be an hour-long video or longer. So just brace yourself. I'll try to put timestamps below. I was going to do this live, but I think that I'll probably run into some hiccups along the way, and it'll probably be best to have a video do well, where I can kind of get rid of some of those gaps where we're kind of waiting. Here's the main reason why, because I can tell you right now, just so you guys know, I feel like Greta, because I've already used it for a few hours now. You can see this is a new account that I'm almost at 300 credits on, and I already spent 250 credits on my other account as well. I got gifted a tier 1 of this, and I used a different email address, built an app on there and so forth. And that's what I did those review videos on. And then this one is the one where I went in and I did purchase the entire tier 4 application. So I did purchase license tier 4 right here. So I have 3,000 credits available. So I did spend 469 bucks on this. And so I already have some initial thoughts. I have not, just a spoiler, I have not successfully been able to deploy something that is working favorably. Now you can deploy, we're going to go and do all those things, but we're going to go through some steps. I'm going to use Claude to kind of break things into micro steps. I think that that's going to help as well. And then also just right off the bat, hit that like button if you really like this kind of content on LearnWire. I've been thinking, I'm really passionate about building software. I've already tried to hire people and spent thousands of dollars, and it went down the toilet because I can't find, even when you hire 5-star rated developers, I just have not had success with that. So I feel like I want to take things into my own hands and just learn how to no-code build apps. And so if that's something that you are interested in and you want more content on that, it's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I feel like I really want to learn the skill of this, and I can teach you guys that along the way. If you like that kind of content and you want to see more of that on LearnWire, where we kind of start focusing a little bit more on no code, which is something that I'm very interested in, then hit that like button and type below in the comment section, just say no code. If you say no code app building or no code building, no code, I know what you mean. I mean that means that you are a fan of this content. You do want to go along the journey with me as I build these apps in front of you and so forth, okay? But what I can tell you, so let's get started right now. Let's try to build an app, okay? So I had a couple of different apps right over here. I have Clickbait Genius right here, and I'm just gonna tell you right now that it wasn't able to do this. It seemed like it was gonna be a simple YouTube title creator, but it just was not able to take the library and knowledge base that I wanted to utilize in the app, and kind of so that when a user types in something like, make money on Etsy, that it will, follow a knowledge base of really great titles that have performed, that I already went out and did the research on. That's what you would want to pay a tool for. Somebody that knows and did all the research and stuff on what real titles are, how they are created and do well on YouTube. And then also be able to follow a structure of a certain character length and some factual things that we know about YouTube titles, and creating them and kind of merging all that together. And I'm able to do that in Claude, no problem. I have my own Claude projects that do an amazing job I've been using for months and months and months. And that's part of my everyday workflow. But I wanted, if I could turn in my workflow that is really, really good and turn that into a tool that people can pay, $15 a month for or something like that, then that would be really cool. I wasn't able to accomplish that. And then another thing that I've also learned about Greta is that we're not able to go past 40 files. And so I ran into that with this AI content flow right over here. You'll see this optimization notice right here. Greta is currently optimized for handling up to 50 files. Due to AI model context limits, we recommend staying within this range. We're actively working on improvements to support more files in the coming weeks. Now, the difference between this and like Lovable, on lovable.dev, once you hit about 50 to 100 files, they will automatically prompt you and say, do we want to condense this down? And it'll, throughout the way, it will actually optimize your files and your project so you can continue working on it. So I really like that about Lovable. Greta is new. They're not as funded as a tool like Lovable and so forth. And so they don't have some of those abilities. So after spending hours trying to create 2 apps, I have not been able to do that. We're going to still go after this AI content flow. I'll talk more about that in a second. But it's just important to know that you're going to want to, what I recommend on tips is you're going to want to have this broken down into, and we're going to use Claude to do this now. We're going to try a new thing together, guys. And we don't know if it's going to work out or not, but I think it's going to get us closer to being able to deploy with this. But you want to ask in micro steps, Greta, on what to do next and so forth, because you're only going to be able to have 50 files or less, right? And on 2 projects, I basically ran out of it and we weren't able to do it. Now, I can tell you that on the AI content flow, so this one was more of a, like I couldn't get the tool to actually do what I wanted it to do. Now, AI Content Flow is an app where we can come up here and go all the way to the top, and I'll just show you what the initial prompt was: create a simple chatbot similar to Claude. See attached, I attached an image for the layout, use off-white gradient as background, blah, blah, blah. Minimalistic modern UI design. Users will be able to select between Claude 4 or ChatGPT 4 to create content. We're going to need our API keys for this, blah, blah, blah. And we finally got to a point where there was like a dashboard, and let me go and see if we can show what that looked like. So this is what the app kind of looked like. And we go over in here into chat and it says API keys are not configured. We would be able to select between ChatGPT 4, Claude Sonnet. Now the UI is really good. I really like it, very clean. This is what the projects would look like. So I'm kind of trying to build my own Claude and then basically charge less for users. And then it's an advantage, right? Something like that. And then we would add more things like that are really, really targeted for different use cases and so forth. But I thought that this was really cool. And then there would be a settings over here and so forth. And then there would be an admin panel, but I couldn't get into the admin panel. I couldn't log into the admin panel. And so that was something that we kind of ran into, where I was not able to create an admin panel that I could log into to give my API keys for Claude and so forth, and then have users log in. So it struggled with that as well. And so what I want to do is I almost want to configure something more simple. Would you guys consider both of these apps complex? I definitely, on the YouTube Clickbait Genius, I didn't think that was very complex. All we're trying to do is train the coding and the knowledge base on a certain thing. And then, we weren't even getting to a point where we were uploading API keys or anything like that. And we still were kind of having a hard time. I mean, you can see that, like, I could come over here and say money, and, we did build something. Here's the 10 optimized titles right here. You can see that it looks really, really cool. Average views right over here. We have a click-through rate, how I built 25 income streams that made $1,000 a month. And it's going to tell you what the character, it's going to automatically score this. It's going to tell you what category it's in and so forth. And then you can save this. I don't know if the save, so title saved to your library, or you can copy it. So it created the titles, and we did get it functioning. It just was not creating the titles the way that I wanted it to. So this is kind of what you could do. But when I save that, we should be able to come up here and go up to the title library, and it's not saving over here. So When I built this similar app in my other account, Greta account, it actually did save and it actually did all this correctly. And so I'm getting mixed results and inconsistent results across the board. But that said, let's go ahead and jump in and try to create something. I think we need to create something just real simple, like a note-taking app or something like that. Let me go kind of create some ideas and we'll be right back. Okay, so you can see what I typed in right over here. We want to build and implement a no-code app, cloud-based app with vibe coding, no coding. Can you give me 10 ideas that solve a simple problem for an internet marketer that would also be super easy to implement or something like that, right? So we have UTM, parameter generator, no social media captions, templates. I think that's something that we should do. Just to do an example or even a landing page converter, tracker, hashtag research organizer, customer avatar, content calendar planner. I think a content calendar planner or the social media captions would be really cool. A competitor price tracker, email subject line A/B tester tool. That actually would be really cool, but I already think that would actually get complex because what I know about email marketing and so forth, we definitely would need to train a knowledge base and so forth on that. So what I'm thinking of is let's just go with a content calendar planner, visual monthly calendar where users drag and drop content ideas onto dates. Basic scheduling interface with color coding. Cool. Let's go with number 5. Okay. So I'm going to go with number 5. Now, what we need to do is create the initial prompt that will be used to create the initial app and MVP. And you then break down all the secondary steps into micro prompts or steps like user role management, admin dashboard, and login. Okay, perfect. So you can see what I said. I said, let's go with number 5 now. What we need to do is create the initial prompt that will be used to create the initial app and MVP and UI. Then break down all the secondary steps into micro prompts or steps like user role management, admin dashboard and login, analytics to the admin dashboard, Stripe payment integration, Superbase data. Superbase is our database integration to manage backend and sensitive data, and anything else you think is necessary to create and deploy a full functioning web app. So Claude's going to get to work on this. So we have our primary prompt, which is great. We don't want it to be any longer than this. I've tried other apps and so forth like that, and it ends up being just a really long prompt. And what I found is specifically Greta cannot follow a really long in-depth app, at least in my experience after trying 3 times now. So we're on number 4 right now. So let's just see what this says. It says create a content calendar planner web app with the following core features: visual monthly calendar interface, blah, 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 ideas onto specific dates, color-coded content types, blog posts, social media, email campaigns, videos. That's really cool. Click to add content with simple model forms, title, description, content type, status. And then later on, we could implement AI into this, right? Like where AI can help brainstorm or create the content, but we're not going to do that right now. We just want to see if we can build this to help people manage their content strategy. Month navigation, previous next month views, clean modern UI using React and Tailwind CSS, local storage for now. We'll add database later. So we're going to add Superbase later. So that's good. We're letting them know, don't even try to do that. Responsive design that works on desktop and mobile. Okay, so I guess we're going to optimize it for mobile. Let's just roll with this, guys. Simple content management, add, edit, delete, and move between dates. Build this as a single page React application with a calendar grid layout. We're not going to worry about the front end landing page and all that yet. We'll just come back to that later. So let's go ahead and take this. We do have our phase 1 core MVP. So we have create a basic calendar grid right here. Then we have our content management system. So this is where we're going to add that in right there. And then we're going to drag and drop implementation right here. And then we're going to do authentication. We're going to implement user authentication system, registration and login forms right there. And I'll specify that we want Superbase for that. Or maybe we're just going to follow the steps that Claude laid out. We might run into, we need to add in Superbase, but that's not in until this one right over here. So let's go and see if we can let all these simple tasks that we are creating as the micro tasks after the initial prompt, and we're going to see if Greta can handle this. Okay. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say AI content flow is going to be the next one right over here. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to also do a shift return and say the name of this app is AI content flow. And actually, yeah, we're just going to do that because this is just going to be like kind of a build in public type thing. I just want to see if we could deploy this. I've already went and checked if this is trademarked. If I ended up building something really cool and wanted to actually launch it, it's not trademarked or anything like that. The name isn't taken by any other company. And you would not believe that going in Claude and saying, create some branded names with, and going and checking. And there, believe it or not, there's usually nine times out of 10, the name of what you're thinking is already taken. It's just crazy. And so it's hard to actually find names for stuff. But what we're going to do is you can see it's coding for us right now. And then also I've already went in and kind of looked at Stripe, and this will end up being, I'll change the key and delete this account. This is just dummy information for now, but I already created a sandbox, AI content flow sandbox for us right now as well. So we'll see if we can integrate Stripe payments in and the deploy button and so forth. The only thing that we're probably not going to do is the GitHub integration where, I have to learn how to do like the GitHub integration. That's supposed to make it easier for you to deploy different versions of your app or when you do app updates and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that out. But right now you can see that it's building all this out. And in my experience, especially when you come back and you do edits, and you want to add something, it's 10 credits and everything. It's pretty slow. I think it's definitely slower than the big hitters like Cursor, Bolt, and Lovable. And there's a bunch more coming out on the market as well. I think it does the first initial launch pretty decent. It does take a few minutes, but then you'll run into some snags with Greta as well when you're just trying to get a simple update. And then finally, once I kind of got to the end where it kind of was stumped yesterday, I would ask it, hey, I can't log into the admin account. And then it would go and do all this work, and I would see this screen right here, and I would see all this. This means that it's fixing to launch and show us what the app looks like. And then everything would just kind of go blank, boom. And then you would go up and you would check the timestamp, and the timestamp would just be gone, right? So there's a timestamp right here at 10:23 a.m. You'll see over here, we have the timer up there as well. And we would not have it's like it would go off for 5 or 6 minutes. And then all of a sudden, boom, you would not see what it did. And it's like it didn't make any changes or anything like that. And you just lost your work, right? And so those are some things that you need to be aware of with Greta and so forth. So here's what it says it did. Here's all the stuff right here. So here's what our initial app could look like. AI content flow. It did create a logo for us. That looks really cool. Plan, organize, and schedule your content. Cool. Blog posts are blue, social media, email campaigns are green, video, podcast, and other right there. And cool. If we wanted to add more, we could do right there. Like, let's say you get 300 users and they keep saying, oh, you need to add this as one of our content types. Maybe you want to get really video. Maybe video needs to be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram broken down or something like that, right? So we do have the basic functionality right over here. So what would you do? Let's just test it before we do anything else. Let's click on August. What is this? August 1st. This is July. So let's go to August. 1st is Friday, so that is accurate. Today's Thursday. There's where the blue dot is. So we would go and click on this, and we would just say that, hey, this is a title. And of course, we would want to build AI into this, or the tool is not going to be as valuable to people. So we would want to do that. I'm not going to do that in this video because I already tried that twice and ran into snags with integrating my API key with the system and so forth. So we're not going to do that right now. But let's just say test video, YouTube video 1, and test YouTube video 1 description. And then right here we would select, so this is really nice. We'll go video there, and you could say that you scheduled, published, archived. So we're going to say that this is a draft right here and save. And so we do have that one right there. If we wanted to, we could move. There's a hand right here, but it's not letting us drag and drop right over here. And then it's just gone. So we accidentally pushed delete on that. So let me just go through here and say video, boom. And if you want to look at this in more fuller screen, you can click the button over here and you're going to get a better view of this. Let's go over here and we can look at this. So I must have accidentally pushed the trash can right there. I probably wouldn't want the delete button to be right here because it was so easy. So those are easy things that you can fix. And I wanted to see if you can drag and drop this. We're supposed to be able to drag it to another day. We can probably update that, but let's just see what we have. So we can come over here and we can actually, move this to scheduled and update. So it'll tell us what it is. Let's go in and create another one and see what this actually looks like. So if we click over here and create a blog post and put it in draft mode, then it will automatically make the square or column, and it will lengthen it however the height adjusts dynamically, if that makes sense. Okay, it's because we can add more stuff right over here. And let's just say we have an email that's going to go out, and it's let's just say it's published or whatever, right? So you have all these different things right there that looks really cool, and maybe even just the color of it. Maybe we would want to make even darker or something like that, but we can do that. So this is what your the initial. Let's say schedule that. So this is what the initial app could look like. Super simple application. And then let's go back over to the build. So I'm going to go like this, and that's it. So let's go back over to trusty old Claude, and let's go on and move on to the next one. Okay. So let's go and copy this right here, create the basic calendar grid component with month, year, and let's just go and start adding these in real quick. And we're going to do one of these at a time and see what Greta is able to do. I'll pause the video in between these. So this ends up, you don't need to see this part right here, but it's going to go and think, it's going to do its thing. And then we're going to come back and take a look at it. Okay, so let's see what we've got. We have a little bit more updated of calendar and view. Let's go and look at what that was actually over here. So it was create the basic calendar grid component with month, year, header with navigation arrows, 7 days a week layout, proper date calculations, responsive grid that adapts to different screen sizes, handle month transitions and leap years correctly. Okay, cool. So I think I'm not going to even really test that part. We're just going to keep moving forward. Go back into Greta and now add this in and go. And I'm just going to keep this process going. So like right here, we got an error. Not really sure what ended up happening. I'm going to go back up here to the timestamp though. The last time. You can revert back to previous versions as well. We should have, so create comprehensive calendar grid component at 10:30. So right now it's just trying to come up with the demo version of this, but it basically, this is an exact example of that. It just couldn't handle whatever. It just decided that this part right here, it didn't want to do that, and it had a hard time with that. So, but I will say that we already have this implemented, so we kind of don't need it. And maybe it's kind of, we're kind of confusing the AI, if you will. So I need to read through these. So drag and drop implement drag and drop functionality, make content items draggable within calendar dates. Visual feedback. Let's just see if we're able to do this right here. It would change the way that this looks, but right now I find that sometimes it just kind of sits here in limbo, trying to show us what the screen is. And as you add more files, we're at 22 files right now, it seems to just kind of, it starts getting bogged down pretty easily, unfortunately, in my experience, but we're going to keep pushing through. I want to see what we can build and then show you what it would look like to deploy and all that. So this is what we have. Let's just go click on something. We have all this. Okay, cool. So that all hasn't really changed. You can go test out and just push save. So we've got that. Are we able to drag and drop? No. So we would need to, is that the part we're going to add? We're going to see if we can add the, we don't want that. We want this right here, add the drag and drop functionality. As you can see, it can't drag and drop right now, but we're going to see if we can add this right now, and we'll be right back. And you can see the drag overlay.jsx, the content card.jsx, the calendar day, the drag preview, drag helpers. It's adding all these features in as enhanced drag and drop calendar view. And then once it's done with this, it's continuing to code. Remember what it's doing. And then there's your app.jsx. It's actually coding an app, a full-scale app for you without you having to actually know how to code. Like, let's just get that out there in the open. Yes, it has its flaws. Yes, it has some things that are not perfect about it. I believe none of the app builders, even Lovable, are perfect. There's a lot of people that left comments on my Lovable. Oh, this is just a trash app that eats all your crap. credits and all that stuff, right? So no matter what app you use, no code building app, you're going to get haters, or you're going to get people that are not happy with the software and all that kind of stuff. So what we're getting over here is, it's still coding an interface and an app without us actually having to do any raw coding or real coding or even learning coding. So we need to at least appreciate what it's doing. It's kind of like that saying we've gotten into society with our fast-paced and our, fast traveling with fast cars and airplanes and now AI, the AI revolution. It's kind of like, it's funny when people complain that like, oh, you're literally sitting on an airplane that's going 500 miles an hour and you're complaining that your plane left 20 minutes late. We've all done that, right? But like, it's just kind of a funny concept. It's like, even if your plane was delayed today and it's kind of ruining your day, if you will, when you take a few steps back and actually look at what's actually happening is that, even just 200 years ago, you would have had to get on horseback. And if you were going to go from, Washington state in the United States down to Florida, across the entire United States on horseback, it would take you a year to do that, or maybe 3 years, a 3-year journey to do that, right? Or most people didn't go outside of like 200 miles from the place that they were born. And now we can get on these jets and these airplanes and be, halfway across the world in just a few hours. So put things into context while we're building this stuff. Okay, so I like to check the timestamps to see if it actually did this stuff. And so we do have the 1039 and I'm at 1041 right there. So it did implement this. And that's one of the things I like to be careful with. Sometimes it doesn't. It, for whatever reason, it just kind of times out and it just doesn't implement the changes. So now we should be able to come in here and I don't know why there's a hand right there. It did change what that looked like. We can't move this and drag and drop it anywhere right there. But what we can do is now we have a priority is now added. The deadline date is really nice. So this is where we could actually change this. And maybe we want to move this to the 5th right here. And then you can add a description. Maybe we add in, there's some tags, really cool notes, and then maybe add the ability to attach things right there. So now we're starting to get a little bit more fancy, a little bit more valuable into a user that might be using this tool, right? So we have this. And so we have the deadline. I wanted to move this to a different deadline, like the 5th of August. And I'm just not seeing that we're able to do that. Okay, so let's go over here. And I'm not seeing that under August, unfortunately. Let's go into this one and edit this one and see if we can move this one. And we'll move it to August 5th update, and nothing's on August 5th. So that functionality is not working. We are in August right there, but moving it over to August 5th didn't really work for us right there. But we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to go back into Claude. We implemented this one right there. So then now, and it didn't really do the drag and drop functionality. So some stuff is not really taking or working. And how you would want to work through this is you would want to prompt it and say, hey, I want to be able to drag and drop to a different date. And you would want to problem solve that. But I'm going to keep skipping forward. But just a side note, you wouldn't want to move to the next step until you actually get the functionality that you're looking for. Like, we're not able to, you know what, let's just go ahead and do at least one example of that. So I'm not able to edit dates and see the date moved to the new date. Also, I'm not able to drag and drop or move projects from the calendar view to new days that I want to move them to. And we're going to push enter, and then it's going to think, and it's going to say, oh, okay, let's fix that. So let's see what it says. I can see the issue. The drag and drop functionality isn't working properly, and there are some problems with the drag validation logic. Let me fix these issues. So let's just take a pause real quick. So I've watched a lot of these no code building app tutorials, and everybody, like, they're like 10-minute videos, and it's like they just build an app in front of you. It's usually just a real simple app, right? They don't show you how to deploy. They don't show you the problems that you have. And I'm doing this live. I'm not leaving any of this out. I'm showing you what it's capable of doing and what it's not capable of doing. It's ignored some of the instructions that we've given it. Right now, we're going to try to fix this. And in my experience, sometimes it's able to fix it and sometimes it's not. And that's just the absolute truth. And hopefully it's refreshing for you to see somebody creating content and using these tools, recording it, so you guys actually get to see what it's really like. And I'm being completely honest, I've tried now, this is the 4th time building an app, and I haven't been overly impressed with the app. I'm just going to tell you and get that out of the way, is that like it kind of has hiccups and hurdles that you can, and I've sat in for an hour and tried to fix one issue, like logging in with an admin, and continued and to use credits every single time, and then it's still not fixed, right? And so there is that. You need to be aware of what you're getting into. There's going to be a learning curve, even though we're not actually coding. You're going to need to problem solve from like a project management standpoint. It's going to have hiccups and hurdles, so much to the point where when we go into Superbase right over here, and we've got some dummy data over here. This is what the other app that I was building that's going to have ChatGPT, Sonnet, and all this different stuff. So it created this. It's going to create all these different databases inside of, or tables inside of your Superbase that's going to actually hold the data for you. But you're going to have to learn how to do this, because you might need to go in and actually manually insert rows or insert from a CSV. And then once you sync that up in Greta, then you can say, hey, use this table. And then you'll just go ahead and copy that table and say, when new user signs up, add that data over here. So that's when you start getting in a little bit more technical. You're going to have to learn the Superbase side of things and the database side of things and so forth. And so what ends up happening is suddenly this quote unquote no code app building that everybody can do suddenly becomes more technical and more difficult than you initially thought, or that all those YouTube people making all those viral videos and so forth, they lead you to believe that Lovable is a solution. Go sign up for it, click a couple buttons, and you're going to be making $10,000 per month. And it's just simply not the case. There's a lot of other factors at play. First, you're going to have a lot of troubleshooting, and I still believe that you're going to probably be able to get 90% done. You're going to have hiccups to where you're going to need an experienced coder that you're going to have to hire to put things together, to problem solve and so forth. I don't think that we're at a place where you literally, at least in my experience, that you literally can build a pretty complex app to full scale and deployment with just simply giving it instructions, because you will run into snags and problems. And then let's not forget about, like, where are you going to make that $10,000 from? If you don't have an audience or whatever, like you got to have an audience to sell to and so forth. So there's a whole other side of it as well. But I'm going to actually create content like this. I'm going to start next week on building my own app. It's going to be this Clickbait Genius. I don't know if that's going to be the official name or not, but it's going to be a YouTube management system, because that's what I do full time. And I want to be able to build the app kind of my dreams, and turn in what I use Claude every day for into an actual application, so that other people can actually benefit from it as well. And then I would add in some really cool features as well, like, emailing based off of your YouTube video, how to email your list to get your email subscribers to watch your video, which gives you more views, which makes you go viral faster, all kinds of stuff. So those are going to be some fun things to work on. So it says try dragging and dropping the items now. This is all the stuff that it did. So now I'm going to go and grab this, and it's not doing that. I'm going to go ahead and push the refresh button, see if that helps or not, but we're still not able to drag and drop. Right over here, if I grab this, it's not letting us drag and drop. So you can see the hand right there. I'm left clicking, and then you see it kind of grabs it right there, but then it doesn't let us drag and drop right there. So it's not letting us drag and drop. Content cards can now drag and drop between calendar dates. And this is a perfect example to you guys, is that it went through this entire thing, says that it fixed it, all that stuff, and you can clearly see that we cannot drag and drop. We cannot drag the content and drop it anywhere. And so I'm going to go like this, and again, let's just say we want to move this date. I'm going to test the moving of the dates to like the 7th of August, and we're going to update the content. And then I'm going to go over to August and you can see that that's not working either. So those are some simple things that now we're 28 files in. And that is what I wanted to show you guys, is that that's something very simple. It should be able to just fix a drag and drop, no problem. It says that it fixed it and it did not. So these are the things that no one's actually showing you about these apps. They probably have an affiliate link in their description, and then they're just telling you that the app is amazing and perfect and this is just unbelievable, go buy it. And that's not what you're going to get from me. I'm being raw, testing this out basically live right in front of you, leaving nothing out, showing you the good stuff and of course the bad stuff as well. We're going to keep moving on though. So let's go to the next thing, which is right over here. So authentication setup right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and user profile management. So let's just go like this and we'll go back in here. And there is, I will say that you have the user role management. You can click that and it will automatically kind of do that for you. Here's some things that it's basically saying that you kind of do need to add, but we're going to just do this Claude thing for now. And it's going to go and start building this part out for us. So the authorization context.js window, and we'll be right back in a minute. This is another part that a lot of people don't share with these types of tools and so forth, is that the videos are funny, right? Like where they just show you. Now, I don't know if you can see my clock up at the top or not. I think I might have my screen cut off. Unfortunately, I didn't actually do that intentionally, but this was at least 5 minutes or more. I left the room, went and got a glass of water and stuff, came back, and it's still not updated. Okay. So, and then we're at 35 files right now. I don't know if we're going to even make it through all of our micro steps. We already know that things are not also working. This is a super simple app as well. Keep all that in mind. And then right now, access denied, you need to be signed in, boom. Okay. So it's saying that it did all this stuff right here. Now we have an access denied. I'm not going to do that part right now. We're just going to trust that it built it right now, because now we want to go into, we did this part right here. Now we want to do this part, and then we want to do that part. So I'm going to go and copy this. It gave us some demo credentials to log into the system and stuff as well. And then we're going to go ahead and just enter this as well so that we can now get it working on all this stuff right here. But the speed at which this can do this is like, it doesn't just do it in 30 seconds. It literally, every time we prompt this, it's taking 10 credits, and it's also taking 5 to 10 minutes in order to see if it worked or not. Then you go and test it, and then it doesn't work. And then you end up going and prompting it like, hey, it didn't work. I'm trying to log in, boom. Then it goes and tries to fix and so forth. And so far, it has been underwhelming, and I haven't gotten the results that I would have liked to get with it. So we'll come back. Okay. So it's saying that users can now manage their complete profiles, change passwords securely, upload profile pictures, and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go through here and keep going. So phase 3, Superbase setup. We're going to go ahead and just continue doing this before I even test anything out. We're just going to go and implement all these micro steps, add backend functionality. This is what it's going to look like when we're adding Superbase. We're going to connect now. And what I want to do is what you actually want to do. Let me show you this step, because people never show you this step. I already have some, if I go to dmails41s.org, we already have all these tools over here. What we're going to do is go new project. And this is going to be, the organization has members who have exceeded their free plan. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to use AI content flow. And what I want to do is we have 6 tables in here, and I kind of want to, we're just going to use this. But what you're going to do is you're going to go in here to Superbase. You're going to go new project, title your project, basically the name of what your software is going to be. And then you're going to go back into Greta and you're going to connect Superbase, and then it's going to connect. I'm going to say connect now. We're going to go in and you're going to see this right here, and you're going to see the option of those 3. So those 3 project options are the 3 projects that I have in here. It looks like you're going to reach your limit. You only get 3 on the free account. These are just all important details that it seems like everybody leaves out. It's really actually interesting. That's why I'm making this video for you, a full-blown tutorial. Everything's not going to be perfect. I'm not promising that the app's going to work, but we are showing you real life what's really going to happen for the average user when using one of these tools like Greta right here, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click AI Content Flow, and it says that we're connected up there, which is good. And then we're going to go boom. So then now it's connected. We're connected to Superbase because we got that green sticker that said that we are in fact connected. Now it's saying I'll implement a comprehensive Superbase backend integration for your AI content. We're just connecting this to the same project we already have. And what it's going to do is it'll just create new tables inside of that project. So it's still gonna, that should be fine. First, let's connect your Superbase project. Let's get the Superbase credentials. Now let's create the necessary Superbase tables. And you can see right here, it's superbase.js, authcontext.jsx. You can see if we scroll up here, I can't scroll up there right now while it's coding, but everything is Superbase related. Won't make it to this step if you're not connected to Superbase. So we are successfully connected to Superbase, and it's going to go ahead and create all of this backend. So it should be able to actually save everything per profile and everything. So you actually have a database. If you're going to have a web app like this, you've got to have a place to actually store, and that's where Superbase comes in. It's basically storing. It's a cloud database that's attached to your software. So when people log in, their login credentials have to be saved and stored somewhere. It's going to be stored on Superbase, and then anything that they do to interact with the app that they want to save, let's say they have a note. If it's a note-taking app and you push save note, that content needs to actually live somewhere and be saved, and that's where Superbase comes in. So I wish that we had a timer because it's still coding right now. And I don't know if this is, I'd have to go through this exact same process side by side with like Lovable and see which one is faster. Is this common that this is taking so long? But it does seem like it, there's a lot of just sitting and waiting while it's coding. But again, when you start getting those thoughts, always come back to like, oh, well, if I actually even if I had the knowledge of coding, in order to code this process right here, this could take weeks just to get your database set up of actual coding. So it's still saving you a crap ton of time, and we're just sitting here while it's doing its thing, okay? But it does, just because it's saving us time and it's doing it automatically. Again, remember, it doesn't mean that it actually works. So we'll go out and we'll test all this out in a minute, but we're going to keep going, and I'm just pausing as it's coding. Because when it's done with this coding, then we're going to go through that part where now it has to actually load itself. This one was a really long process with a lot of different things that it's creating. But then we'll go through that load process, which usually takes 1 to 2 minutes as well. So we'll be back in just a minute. So what it's saying that it's doing is all user profile features are now fully functional with proper validation, error handling, and security measures in place. The application now stores all data in Superbase rather than local storage, providing a much more robust solution. And now we're loading. And here's we are, okay? Let's go over here and look at August right here as well, starting to look a lot better, but I'm not gonna test anything out. We're just gonna keep building, and then we'll go and test out our app, okay? So we just keep moving forward. We did this one, so then now let's do this. Handle data persistence, synchronity, migrate existing local storage data to database, implement real-time sync between multiple browser tabs. I think we already did that, so we'll go ahead and leave that alone. It already said that it does that. Everything's synced. So admin dashboard. So we have our admin interface, create admin dashboard with user management. Now this, I can already tell you, this is going to take another 30 minutes. And with using this tool a ton over the last week, I can tell you that adding this phase 4 is going to take another 30 to 45 minutes. I don't really want to add that in, but just think about it. You are going to have to do this process right here. And I'm just kind of giving you that side note of information. You're going to need to add an admin login that has a unique dashboard that you're able to do certain things in with your application. And so that's going to be a process that everyone's going to have to do. I'm not going to do that in this particular video right here because I can already tell you right now it's going to struggle. I've had issues with this before, so I'm going to go ahead and just not do this because I want to see if we can kind of wrap the video up and deploy. We also need a landing page as well. So user role management, add user role, define user roles right there. So we will go with phase 5 right here. So this is where we're going to go with phase 5. We're going to go add user role management. So we're going to copy this real quick. And I'm going to go, and you kind of get an idea too. Like this is where it would tell you what you need to work on each week. So this would already be like an 8-week plan. You would spend an entire week doing this, and we've only been working on this for less than an hour, right? So we're going to go, and it's going to go and try to do this part right here, and we'll come back. Okay, so it says, I've successfully implemented a comprehensive user role management system for your AI content flow application. Here's what has been included, and you can check those out. And now it's going to like install those and ship those. The system is now ready to enforce role-based permissions. And this part right here that it's cut off, I don't like that. Sometimes you just can't read it. I wish they'd fix the chat area. Again, I mentioned that in my previous 2 videos. All free features up to 1,000 content items, blah, blah, blah. So it implemented free users, premium users, admin users, and all that stuff right there. We have a preview failed, command failed right here. It's going to recognize that there's a fail here and it should automatically try to fix it. And this is what ends up happening. This is cool that I'm at least able to show you what happens live. It can see the build errors in your project. Let me fix the issues. So fix build errors. I didn't push anything. If it gets an error right here like this, it's going to automatically attempt to fix them. And so it's going to do that right now, and we will just sit and wait. Okay, so we're back. I can see the errors. Boom, boom, boom. Run command, issues fixed. I fixed the 2 build errors. And you can pause and read this if you want. Root cause analysis, verification, the fixes ensure, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we've done all that. This is what the app looks like so far. And I just want to go through feature gating, implement features, restrictions by user role, limit the number of content items for free. I think we kind of already did that. We can implement that at any time. I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. So now the last couple things we need 3 things still. I told you this is gonna be a long video, but no one shows you the entire process. We are going to need a landing page for the application as well. There's 2 ways I think you can do it. We can have the app build that as well. We can also build our landing page and host it kind of separately, and then have a pay button where people can go and log into the app. So you can kind of do all that separate. I'm going to try to build the entire thing on one app because this says you can do the entire thing in one app. And then we need PayPal integration. We need that as well. And then we need to deploy. So those are the 3 things that we need still. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do Stripe integration, integrate Stripe payment processing and subscription management right here. I'm going to put this entire thing in right here for phase 6. We're going to go like that. We're going to put the whole thing in right here and push go. And so it should be able to, this is it. I have not implemented Stripe with any of them. So we're going to see how this works. Integrate Stripe payment processing and subscription management will enable users to upgrade from the free tier to the premium subscription. So Stripe payment integration right here. At some point, it's gonna need to ask for our information from Stripe that we have over here, like these API keys and so forth. We'll see when it asks for that. We'll be right back. And you can see we've reached 400 credits right here. I've been using the system for like probably each 100 credits probably represents at least an hour of use. So I do think that the credit system with Greta is good. You're definitely going to want to get the all-in tier because I think that you're going to find that building these apps is going to take 500 to 1,000 credits to full launch. Possibly even could be 1,500 to 2,000 credits for your first initial launch of an app. And so you're really going to need to dive into, tier 3, tier 4 for sure if Greta is the way to go. And I can say this too about Greta is that it can probably only get better than what its current state is right here. So hopefully it continues to get developed and it can end up being a really good tool. But right now, I don't think that it's going to, if you had to ask me, I would definitely say Lovable and Cursor are going to be leaps and bounds ahead of Greta and so forth. So we'll come back real quick. So you can see right here, we have stripe.js, we have our subscription content, we have our pricing plans, checkout form, and subscription dashboard all being built right here for Stripe. It hasn't asked me there's an upgrade button as well. So that's cool. It's building all that for us. It hasn't asked me for the Stripe integration to actually be integrated with a real Stripe account that we can actually get paid through and so forth. We'll see if it ends up doing that soon. And then there's the subscription cancel. So people need to be able to cancel their subscription as well. So it's creating that as well. And then we're gonna need to be able to save this information in Superbase as well. So it's creating this workflow for the payments in Superbase because each profile is going to need a column added. So we come over here, inside of here, there's going to need to be a table. And now you can see we have 9 tables. It's going to need to be able to, we can go into the table editor. One of these is going to need to be user subscriptions right here. So free, enterprise. So it's going to create dummy data for us right now. So you can tell when people are on the enterprise, free, or pro plans right here, canceled, active, monthly, all that information right there. So that's kind of what it's syncing up right now and creating for us. And while looking at most of this stuff, like 90% of it makes total sense and it's kind of logical. And then when you come down into here, like this .env, dot example, I don't know what that is. Maybe that was that dummy data. The app.jsx, I don't know what that is. And then I don't know what upgrade prompt.jsx. I don't really know what that is right there as well, but most of the other stuff I do. So I've successfully integrated blah, blah, blah. So then this is going to turn to that right there. Subscription plans with monthly, yearly billing. The system is now ready for production with enterprise. We didn't push what you can do is push the plus button here, set up Stripe account, create your Stripe account, and get API keys. So these are the next step that it's telling us to do. So we are going to need to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, boom, we need to do this now. I'm going to go like that, paste, boom, and enter. Now I did push that before it fully loaded, and I think that should be okay. We're just going to right away just move. I'll help you set up Stripe payment processing for AI content flow application. Let me guide you through each step. So very important. I haven't done this before, and no one ever shows you this part on camera, on screen. They always leave this part out. Like, cool, we can build a user interface of any of these no-code apps. Cool. I could make so many videos like that, which I probably will. But very important, no one's actually telling you how to implement Stripe. And we're going to try this as an average user that doesn't know how to code. How easy is it to actually create this webhook server, Stripe setup, API key, all that, to see if we can actually connect this to Stripe? So in this case, these units that it's creating right now for the coding do look a little different than the ones previous. Stripe setup, webhook server, package, and Stripe.js, I believe, are some newer ones that we didn't see over here. So yeah, let's see. So I'll help you, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so it's continuing to code. We'll come back in a minute. So very important to note this part right here. We've made it to this part right here. You can tell we're at 58 files, and now we're getting that warning right here where we're reaching this max, and we're just building a very simple app. And just to make it to this point, and we haven't done a lot of fixing and optimization. We haven't even tested the app really, and we're already at almost 60 files. And so that'll give you an idea of, like, without an optimization, like being able to optimize all this codes, like that's the part that Lovable's really good at. It'll optimize 60 files and optimize it down into like 5 files for us. They're going to have to figure out a way to do this, because we're just trying to implement a very simple app, follow instructions, and we're already at that max. So those are some things to consider about Greta as well. Now, not at any point did it ask me for my Stripe like API key or integration. So we do have the test integration, and we have set up webhooks. Go to developers, webhooks, and Stripe. Add the endpoint. So you will need to do some technical stuff. It's not going to do this for us. So that's the part that you just need to know. Okay, so when we come back over here, look at right here. It does give you the instructions. So this is what we need to do next. Quick setup instructions. Create a Stripe account and get keys. Visit Stripe right here. Create an account. And this part right here is really annoying that we have to like scroll over to read all this. I probably would just copy all this, put it into a notepad so we don't have to do that part right there. But so we have to keep moving back and forth. So you're going to need to do all this developer stuff right over here. You got to create products and do all that. I'm not going to do that in this video. The video is just going to get too long, but this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the average user is probably going to stop and give up, because we're going to get into some technical things that this software does not do. It just does not implement Stripe for us automatically. We've got to go into our Stripe account. We've got to go into developers, API keys in our dashboard, copy your test keys right there. And then you've got to create your products in Stripe, go to products, premium monthly, premium yearly, copy the price IDs, and then you got to configure this, and you're going to go into create the .env file right here. Then you have this webhook right here. Then you set up your webhooks. You're gonna have to do all this stuff right over here. This is that technical side that even this no code builder is not doing for us. We're going to have to go and do all this part right here. And this is where probably 90%, 95% of people that make it to this point are gonna run into some hiccups and hurdles. You're gonna probably need to hire somebody to go and do this technical stuff, or you're gonna have to spend the time it takes to learn how to actually do this. Then there's gonna be testing and sandboxing after that as well. So it's not all like, happy rainbows and sunshine when it comes to no code app building. You are going to run into some technical difficulties as well. So I'm going to skip past that part. That would be the Stripe payment part. And then finally, last thing, create a sales page, landing page for this product. It will be one page and has a pricing feature at the bottom. The, purchase now buttons will take them to the sign up page, something like that. So it's going to create a landing page for us right here, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so this is a perfect example of we've reached our max on Greta. We have 58 files right here, and this is that example that I was showing you, is that we just typed in build a landing page for this product, and then it went through, it thought for a while, then it did its spinning thing over here, and then look what ends up happening. It's just completely gone. 11:25 was our last timestamp. It's 11:33 a.m. right now. So it just completely ignored what we asked it to do. And it's like we can't do anything further with the app because it's not optimized, okay? So this is where you're going to run into app issues with, at least specifically with Greta. Now, what I'm going to do is you want to make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to take this same exact concept and go into like Lovable and see like how easily we can build the app there. And then we would have a nice baseline of, well, we can easily build it in Lovable, and Greta just completely struggled. And then it capped out at 58 files, and then it wouldn't do anything else. So we are at an optimization right here. We went up to 50, we went over 50 files. It won't do anymore. We can't do anything else with this app, okay? So now I wanted to get this out there because this was live. I didn't know what was going to happen with this. This shows you the hurdles and hiccups that you will run into, even building a very simple app with Greta. I don't think that anybody else out there, there's hundreds or even thousands of videos that YouTube creators have created on no-code app building, but they fail to actually show you what it's really like, and that you will run into hurdles. You will end up having to do things on your own, like Stripe integration, webhooks, and all that stuff. And then you will run into things like this with like Greta, that the files capacity for this project is already too large. And we can't build a landing page. And we just tried to follow simple steps right here. They're pretty easy steps. And we were not able to fully fledged build one out. So I think that the verdict is just that you're not really able to do this, because these ones, my initial thought on AI content flow, where we're going to use ChatGPT and Claude and integrate large language models and build out a really cool like chatbot app, that's probably more complex than what we just created right here. There's no fancy knowledge base or APIs or anything like that we're using right over here. And we still struggled. Keep that in mind, okay? So on my fourth go around with Greta on tier 4, still not able to maximize our files right here, and still not able to fully implement anything. Last but not least, I want to go over here and just see what we're able to do. So if we're in August 1st and I want to just create some stuff, it's maybe the blog, we'll go with Medium, and then we'll go with, scheduled, and we'll go with, it should timestamp that for that day, but then you have your description, your tags, your notes, and we'll create the content. So content created, that looks nice and flashy. Let's go over to, well, that should have been on August, and I'm not seeing it. So it's not even keeping that. So like if I go into August 6th, for example, let's go click the plus button on August 6th. We should be able to create something here and create, and it's not even working. Like we went through this entire process, spent an entire hour using the tool and we're not able to even use the app right here, even just to show you what it could look like, right? We literally don't have anything that we can actually go out and show you that, oh yeah, this works, right? So it's not even functioning the way it was when we first started out. When we create the content, it's not even saving it. We're having an issue, right? So I don't know if that's because we're at max capacity or what, but kind of a letdown, really kind of. And I like this 0 content items this month, so we should be able, that would tally up and so forth. But again, we're at max capacity, not looking good. And then the last thing that you would do if you did successfully figure this out, then what you would do is, oh, we do have user, you'd have your content items right over here, and pretty cool right there that it created that for us. We're on the free account right over here. So it does some things right, but it does a lot of things wrong, unfortunately. Make sure to subscribe if you want more content like this, more videos. If you want me to literally try to build this app in like Cursor or Lovable to see how far we can push them, to see if we can actually go to full deploy there. But if I'm going to do a building in public on one of those other apps that I'm going to have to pay monthly for, and I already know that they're better apps, I'm going to build something that I'm extremely passionate about and interested in. So if you made it this far in the video and you want me to do a building in public type thing, build a real app to full deployment, it's going to be my YouTube app probably because I'm really passionate about that. Then just write in no code build in public. If you type that in below, I know you watched the entire thing. I know that you are a true rock star, a true fan of LearnWire and the content that I provide. Type that in below, no code build in public. Type that in, and then I know if I get enough of you, then I will go ahead and do that. I'll invest the money and the time into probably Lovable, and we will try to build an app together all the way to full deployment. So that would be pretty cool. But I think it's fair to say that Greta isn't going to get you there. This tool right here is not going to build an app for you. We couldn't even get through a simple application that had no technicals to it, had no APIs, had nothing fancy to it. The last thing that you would do though, let's just pretend that you built the app and you want to deploy. You just push the deploy button and it will automatically start deploying your creation. And this is what it looks like. It says it's deployed and you're going to get this. It's hosted on Netlify right here. So we can go copy, we can go and take a look at what this would look like. And here's the app. We have access denied. Let's go and see if we can sign in. The sign in isn't even working right there. We would need to go in and fix that. So we would need to fix that. All the steps we took, all the time it took, and we still don't even have a working app. But that's what that would look like. And then once you're in here, once you click the deploy button, you can actually go in here and click connect your domain. You can claim this link, you can claim the site, and you can actually use this to go and link it to a custom domain. You could do that as well. Not going to show you how to do that. So you could take an app to full deployment, but there's going to be some technical hurdles that you're going to run into. So thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Hopefully you got high value. I think Greta is kind of a no-go at this point, even for a simple app. We were not able to deploy it together here, and we maxed out our files right over here. It wasn't able to handle anything complex as well, implementing API keys and so forth. And that's for the average user. The average no-code user is not going to be able to go in here and just build an app. And that's just straight up. It's kind of disheartening, kind of sucks, right? Because these are marketed at build any app you want, type in something. It just is not the case. It's actually not the truth. And if you're really going to want to build an app, you're going to have to do what I'm going to do, which is dive real deep into it, take some courses, really dissect and learn how to put apps together and use the best no code and put it all together. Then I think you can probably do it. But there's going to be definitely a learning curve to get you there. And I don't think Greta's going to get you there. I'm probably going to end up getting a refund on this tier 4 $450 purchase. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.